Hello LCPs and welcome to Crisis Management. We are going to check your role as LCP during a crisis, handling the public relations. So this manual was created to serve as a guide to minimize the potential occurrence of these crises, but unfortunately we cannot predict everything and we cannot control all of these situations from happening. So we are also going to provide you countermeasures to make sure that if a situation arises within your LC, you are able to solve it. You are also going to find out on the Resource Hub on our website the risk assessment tool. It will be soon updated by me and Tinia, but there you can already find a lot of cases and how to proceed with each one of them. When we have a crisis, we can divide it in the preparation before, in the duration, like during the crisis, how we are going to act, and then at the end, post-crisis, what we need to do to make sure that it's not going to happen again. So before the crisis, we have to analyze all the scenarios. These assessments can be done through our risk assessment tool. You can check up in there and check which ones are most useful for your LC. Then we have a crisis response plan. Based on each of these scenarios that you're going to analyze, you're going to see what is it needed to be done inside of that case. Do I need to go public? Do I need to inform through our media? Do I need to update my board? Do I need to update the EP's family? Do I need to follow up on the media? Do I need to post something to counter the situation? So for each situation, you're going to find a plan. You're going to have a counter measure in place to make sure that if the situation arises, you can already be prepared. Then we are going to prepare for the crisis in a more practical way. So we are going to have specific people who are responsible for handling some kinds of situation. For example, if I have situation with EPs who are abroad, I'm going to assign my VP B2C. If I have a situation involving the legal part of the LC, I can have someone from the board, or I can have my VP Finance to do it. It is also important that you have finance reserves for these kind of issues, because you may come across a situation where you have to pay a compensation. But also, you need to make sure that internally your members, they are following your rules, and that you have rules in place either in your constitution or in your compendium to guarantee that legality, to guarantee that your members are following the laws of the country, to make sure that your EPs are also aware that they have to abide to the XPP, and they have some things that they need to follow, that they cannot do whatever they want, that there is a consequence for this. Then, during the crisis, you have to first assess the situation and see which kind of risk you are facing. Is it health? Is it legal? Is it financial? So after you identify the problem, you can put it on the tool and see what are the next steps for you, what needs to be done, and who you should involve. It's also important that you step out of your role and be empathetic, trying to understand the situation from the person who is going through the crisis, and not with an external eye, because you need to understand where is it coming from. Where it is coming from, what are the feelings involved, if there is a cultural difference, if there is a difference in belief that was affected and hurt in the situation. And most part of the times, talking and having an open channel will already help you to solve your issue. Then you need to activate your key players. This is the moment to decide who needs to be involved, who needs to be updated about the situation. You can also reach out to other LCs and to the MC for them to know that you are going through something and that maybe this can affect them as well, and also to ask them for support. It is important to have someone as a spokesperson. Most part of the times at an LC level, this is going to be you as an LCP, but it is something that can be changed depending on the kind of issue. So the more relevant the person is to that issue, the better it is to have that person as a spokesperson. Make sure that the person is trained and prepared to handle the situation, because if you have someone that is not confident, 100% confident about handling it, you're just going to make it worse and it will escalate. Then you can check who can support you. You need to check if your board can support you. You can check who from the alumni could give you legal counseling, who could give you inputs because has already been on the same situation. And also onboard your members, because they will probably be asked, they will be questioned, and they will be ambassadors during the crisis. It is important for them to know what is going on so that they can be honest and at the same time not make the situation worse. During the crisis as well, you need to focus on managing the information. Centralize all of the data and facts that you can get, as in how it happened, if there is any proof, which were the actions that were taken to try to solve the issue, and always double check and recheck the information that you have. Don't simply trust on the first person that you listen, especially if the person is super involved with the crisis, because it is a person that is going to be emotionally involved, and it will either make it sound more serious or less serious than it really is. The next part is to prepare to answer for a couple of questions and to have these all saved and stored so that you can understand after the crisis passes how you can counter and how can you solve a similar issue if it arises again. Then you need to monitor the social media and the communication channels to see people's reaction, to see how your market, how your stakeholders are reacting to that crisis, and also to see what is their opinion in the topic. After the crisis, what you need to do is have a plan to recover yourself. So you need to prepare a report with all the steps that were taken, all of the actions that were taken, all of that information that I've already mentioned before in the previous slide. Come up with solutions to reduce future risk of similar problems happening, and also sharing the experience, be it a bad case practice or a good case practice, with other LCs, so they can learn and prevent these things from happening in the future. This is it for crisis management. I hope you don't have any situation happening in your LC, but that if you do, you are prepared to handle it. See you soon.